16.
Look, 100 years after 100 years, they done lied to us about this and that. Told us all we from Africa and made fiction characters turn into facts. Harriet Tubman, then it was not. Knowing goddamn well that trick was capped. My wife and I wrote a book about it, and it's book with knowledge, evidence, and fact. My other book got them haters shook, cause it's helping my people take a closer look at their backgrounds in the background, showing my people where they supposed to look, showing my people where they get it from, where they hit it from, all sorts of angles. When it comes to this research, you must please first, don't trust strangers. Find out all on your own is what I highly recommend and suggest. And if you looking for uncensored content by me, I highly recommend you the best, which is my website at the link you see just across the screen. Don't let it miss you. I make it simple. I double down on that black and white. It's too official. Oh, see you everyone. Thank you for joining me. Now today we're going to be doing something a lot different. As you can tell, I have my original camera that I had years ago, and my Canon camera I'm going to be set up and everything here shortly. Back to normal. I'm just waiting for a few more pieces to come in, then I'll be going live. Okay. Now I received multiple inboxes about this particular video here that I'm getting ready to play for you guys, and I said, okay, well, let me watch this thing. You know, I wanted to watch it in full to figure it out, see what it's about. And the gentleman is, so far, I mean, I'm only about 20 minutes in. The gentleman is stating a lot of truth with the majority of the stuff that he's been mentioning so far. So that's very good. And his name is Santos Bonacci. Based off of what I'm familiar with, he's a researcher from Australia. He's a researcher in occult matters and astrotheology. Okay. Now he has books out, he has videos out. He's doing a podcast with Patrick Timpone out of the One Radio Network. I've been informed by even my team members were telling me about this particular video because they were indicating that he was saying a lot of the things that I state in this video, and it's perfect because I want you guys to know there's a lot of Australian researchers that have been listening to me for quite some time now, and a lot of them have shouted me out. You know, I just didn't put that on my channel or anything like that, but and it doesn't matter their skin complexion. They could be, you know, so-called Latino, so-called Caucasian, it doesn't matter, or even so-called black. Okay. The whole point is that people know what's going on. They're willing to do the research, they're willing to put in the footwork, and that's what I'm about. I'm about teaching and promoting the truth to the people. You know, I'm trying to make you guys truthers, you know, for lack of better words here. That's mainly what it's about, because the more you are cognizant of the truth, the faster this word could get out, the faster we could get things done and stop the enemies, you know, from their propaganda or their agendas. Some of this stuff, I'm gonna be real, some of this stuff I'm gonna have to edit. Some of this stuff I'm gonna have to edit because I don't know what platform they're on. When I got, you know, sent this video, this was a video, so they're definitely not on YouTube talking like this. Some things I'm gonna have to edit out, and you're probably gonna have to, you know, read in between the lines because I'm not even gonna be able to put up words of what he's stating. But yeah, because he gets deep, you know, very similar to, shout out to Chingy, very similar to how Chingy and I's conversation went. And I had to edit that one for YouTube because they're talking about a couple of different things that I talk about, but where I have to do it differently, or strategically rather, on YouTube in order for everything to go through, and I could skip past the algorithm stuff, picking it up, you know, and still get the message across. So I had to do things a little bit differently here, but you know, regardless, you'll be able to understand if you really pay attention. Okay. So I'm going to continuously watch this video, but on you guys' side, I'm going to go ahead and skip up to the part where you're probably going to see me, you know, listening to a particular point that my people have informed me that they want me to hear. Shout out to you guys that's been sending me, you know, stuff like this on Instagram and Twitter. So if you want to continuously do that, do that. I highly recommend it. And as a matter of fact, I have an idea, guys. If you would like to be on my channel, you must be on camera, number one. But if you would like to be on my channel and you would like to share your testimony with people on my channel and you're not afraid, you know, I mean, we don't have to go live or anything like that. In fact, you can send me your video record yourself with your camera, or your camera phone rather, and send me your video by uploading that video to WeTransfer.com and send it to my team's email address, which is info@I'mJustHereToMakeYouThink.com. Don't let it be no longer than about 5 minutes max. Keep it short and simple, but if you would like to share your testimony, make sure it's no longer than 5 minutes. Make sure that you're near some light where I can see you. Even if the camera looks fuzzy like this one, but at least you're in some light where people can see you, and you're not afraid, and you definitely giving me permission to use your video on my channel. Make sure it's no longer than 5 minutes. Upload it to WeTransfer.com. You don't have to, pay for that they allow you to upload 2 gigs and send it to my team at info@I'mJustHereToMakeYouThink.com. Title it video for collaboration with Dane Calloway, something like that, so they could be aware of that. So I just came up with that on the spot, so I'm gonna inform my team and I'll probably bring this up during the next live stream and keep that going. I don't mind that, with you guys sharing your testimonies, especially if you're not afraid. And I'm talking about testimony only. info@I'mJustHereToMakeYouThink.com. So, all right, with all of that being said, let's get into this video. So I'm gonna jump to the part, okay, guys, where I'm already listening to it, but apparently I want you to hear what Santos is saying as well. So here we go.
So I want just to touch on the Jesuit idea. So these religions, which I suspect are tied in with the other religions, Catholic and all that, they put out this whole globalism thing long ago just to keep us trapped, try to keep us trapped into our disillusion.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's all they're doing. They are parasites, they are vampires, and they are harvesting our energy. And it's time to say enough is enough. We're not going to take your medications. We're not going to be locked down. We're going to be free. We were born free, and we will remain free forever. And that's my message to the Jesuit Pope and all of his demon followers who are following orders from him. He's a pimp, he's a degenerate, and he's a son of a... Pope Francis's mother was and is a...
Wow.
Because he's a son of a...
Wow.
He going hard.
No holds bars with you, my friend.
Not at all. His mother was she was a puta. That's what you say in Spanish. Hijo de puta.
Italiano too, putana.
Hijo de puta.
In Italian it's putana, right? Putana.
That's Spanish.
Oh, that's Spanish, yeah. So it feels like this entire label, which we know is just a big lie, this whole thing for the last 2 years. Really, is it fair to say, Santos, before you go, that this never would have happened if we would have been just more awake and knew where we were? And this, so their ploy so far has played out. They were able to pull off this COVID thing because we've been programmed for so long. Right?
People were just unaware.
Yeah. Yep, they did a mud flood. They did some plagues. They did it to the Chinese with opium. They did it to the Australians. They did it to the American Indians with smallpox.
Yep.
They just go into a country, plague the whole place out, and then take over their buildings. New York was already there for thousands of years. San Francisco was there for thousands of years. Los Angeles was there for thousands of years. They were built by the indigenous people who were black and Indians as well. The black people, they weren't brought over by slaves. They are the original owners of America.
Thank you.
Black people, African Americans. They don't come from Africa. They were already here. And they plagued them out. And they stole the Smithsonian Institute, which is Jesuit controlled, stole their knowledge, stole their history, and now we're just left wondering who we are, where we are, where we come from, where we're going. We don't know.
Glad he said that.
Anything.
Wow.
Because that's what y'all wanted to see.
Because they did a catastrophe on this earth just only a few hundred years ago.
Right.
So would you come back
recently? And I'm actually glad that he said that. So, all right. So this is what we're gonna do. Okay. I want you guys to understand. Shout out to all the Australians that are, not holding back, that are actually stating the truth. And shout out to Santos, because he's one of them. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate seeing stuff like this, because this helps me keep going, and as well as you guys all in the comments, sharing the content, regardless of who trying to shut what down. It ain't stopping you. I appreciate that. To go back to what he was saying, he's absolutely correct. And I've been saying this for years, ever since I've been on YouTube, ever since I've been on Facebook. Guys, my message hasn't really changed. I've just been adding in more new information that comes along with my discoveries when I do research. But to me, all of this information is old. It's just the fact that it hasn't been publicized because of how we've been indoctrinated here in the Americas, aka Turtle Island. Our people have been, our people have long overdue, beyond justice. This is beyond justice and beyond trying to look for or fight for equality, fight for civil rights. Come on, man. They're not even respecting us as humans. They're not even respecting our human rights. When you have a set group of people that follow by, their religious ways and their religious beliefs and their religious cults and stuff like that, and they have an agenda and they promote their own propaganda in a malicious way, and it's working against our people, that's a big deal. And what you guys have to understand is that yes, religion was used against us. That was the first thing that they had to implement, was religion, in order to attack the mindsets of the people. And I told you the company's name. The missionaries that came over here by way of the Virginia Company of London was called the Congregation for Propagating the Gospel in Foreign Parts. You can look this up. The Congregation for Propagating the Gospel in Foreign Parts. They came by way of the Virginia Company of London. These were the first missionaries that came to preach that gospel. Okay, now I know it's a lot of Christians out there, even Muslims or whatever. Whatever your walk of life is or whatever your faith belief is, I'm not trying to take any of that away from you. What I'm trying to do is tell you what happened historically to our people. Regardless if you believe in the Bible, the Quran, it doesn't matter. I'm trying to tell you what happened. There's books, or stories rather, inside of those books that have messages that you have to decode. Okay, but it's not for a preacher to translate, because they're going to have their own propaganda based off of what they were told to do. Very similar to how teachers and professors in colleges and universities and public schools and charter schools and private schools, they have an agenda as well. And they're told to teach this in a curriculum format in a particular way, which is one directional, which makes a person to think one directionally, okay, only, meaning you can't say anything about it. You can't question it. You can't try to change it. Can't do any of that. That's done purposely. That's called indoctrination, okay? And they instilled indoctrination in all of their industries, or whether, industries. There's another term I wanted to use. Institutions. That's what I want to state. Institutions. Because if you think about it, school is an institution. Churches are institutions. Okay? So I want you to, connect the dots. That's the only way that you could get the answer. In order to connect the dots, you got to trace them. You got to see what's going on. Now, a lot of people would state, hey, you could just follow the money. Yes, you can. You can follow the money and still get the answer. To know that it was a bunch of, religious groups, Jesuits, Catholics, Persians. It was a lot of different types of people. The ones that want to follow by the Puritan way of life, end quote, or quote, the Puritan way of life, end quote. Okay, I showed you guys this before, and this video called the Black, I used the term black so I could grab people's attention. It's called Black Indians Reserve the Right to Assemble Their Own Freedom. So if you want to follow up on that, I highly recommend it. And I'm giving solutions. I'm actually telling you a way where we could get this stuff done on our own, correct the issues that we have right now, that we had in the past, and we could correct them right now in order for us to have a better future. But yeah, a lot of these people came with their own agendas, and they manipulated our people's mindsets. How did they do that, Dane? And I'm going to continuously tell you guys this, because they couldn't attack the adults' minds, because the adults, their minds were already made up. They had to implement it in their institutions. Sunday schools. Listen to this, y'all. They get deep. They had to implement it inside of the churches. They had to implement it inside of the schools. They had to implement it inside of the universities and colleges. All the way down to, some of you guys are joining Greek fraternities and sororities right now. Some of the girls go, yeah, and all that stuff right there. That ain't us. That ain't got nothing to do with our original culture, legacies, languages. That ain't got nothing to do with us. But yet, you got their back, and they don't got yours. Okay, and a lot of people are sitting up there joining those sororities and fraternities, and and also branching off into secret societies like the Boule, for example, in which I'm going to go into further depth with with that particular information here shortly. You're going to see that, not in this video, but in another video. But our people are selling themselves short. Okay, and then it's a lot of our own people selling our people out just for the money, only just for the money, because they're not getting any recognition. They're not getting any high rank. Okay, just like how I called Joe Brown out for that same situation. He straight up told you on camera it doesn't make a difference what we call ourselves, and it does make a difference, because the more we call ourselves by who we're not, the further away we're detaching ourselves away from our true history, our true cultures, our true legacies, our true language. Okay, the further away we're pushing ourselves away from what really happened here, and we're allowing the enemies to win silently because we're battling against each other. When they implemented these methods like pan-africanism, go back to Africa, stuff like that, they know that we were already here. They know that we were the original owners of this land. And what I mean by owners is that we were the original dwellers. We originally resided here before any foreigner laid foot here, period. And that's even in their own writings. The Virginia Statutes at Large. Okay, I told you guys to pick that up. Get all 13 volumes. Okay, now, I mean, if you're a reader like me, you would. Okay, but I have all of the volumes. And that was one of my main sources that I used in order to bring this information forward, to let you guys know that they didn't get nobody from Africa. They didn't get nobody from Africa. The people that came from Africa willingly came over here, not by way of a slave trade, and they were of pale skin from the Afri tribe in North Africa. I showed you that. Okay. And I also showed you that some of them moved. If they didn't move here, they moved to South Africa. Okay, and they're still calling themselves Africans, but it's pronounced Afrikaners with a K, Afrikaners. And their native tongue is Afrikaans. Can't no Pan-African debunk that. These people are Dutch descent. Okay, they're foreigners in a foreign landmass, moving away from their masters. I told you that they were the original slaves. And the reason why I told you that, the reason why it was hidden, is because they're hiding it up under the term called transportation. Okay? And I told you, my wife and I told you about transportation and what that really means. The bloody codes. I told you about the bloody codes as well, where they were shipping their criminals over here. That's transportation. Moving the criminals from one landmass to another. Not from one state to another, one landmass to another. In order for them to reside there, residential. that's moving along in transient status, that means that you're there temporarily. That don't mean that you're there permanently. I showed you that as well. I'm showing you the records, hands down, all the way back to when DC was not called DC or District of Columbia. It was called the City of Washington. I told you about the term Washington and where that came from. And that was our people. And see, we let these foreigners take our spot, by not only by our identities, but our governments, by our spiritual practices and beliefs. We have a ton of work to do. But once again, it's more than just me, okay? It's more than just me stating this. And I'm thankful. So be looking out for more books from me, guys. I'm working on that right now as we speak. I'm waiting for more equipment to come in, and I'll be on camera here shortly again. And as well as more movies are coming. I'm doing something different with my movies this time. And they're not going to be on the Vimeo platform. I'll tell you that. That's just a hint. They're going to be on a more reliable platform. So just be looking out for that. Oh, and my audio books, like I promised you guys I'm going to do audio books with the books that I'm going to be releasing. And they're all coming. Okay. So that's what when you see me not posting, back to back like that, it's because of that, because I'm working. Okay. But I appreciate everyone's support. I appreciate everybody taking their time out to watch my content, to share my content with their loved ones, their friends, their family members, their co-workers. We have to get this message across. We have to let our people know that we are the originators, that we are the original people, that we are the American Indians. The ones that the foreigners said American Indians. The foreigners said Indians, urban Indians, Ameri Indians, Negro Indians. It was always the term Indian. Okay, even though sometimes I'm repeating myself for certain cases, but I have to, because there's more people coming on board daily. Like I was just checking out my YouTube on my other screen. I just received 16,000 new subscribers in 3 days. And that is amazing. So I have to continuously teach this message. Okay, and I am, guys. I'm gonna go into it's going deep this year, and I'm gonna make sure that you're gonna get caught up by other items that I'm going to put out, so you can get caught up on it, and then you can have my research as well, because I'm posting my research all the time. Okay, and then you can have it in your hand when it come book time. So I'll see you guys next time, and probably a day, because I'm working on a bunch of stuff and I'm gonna be posting them back to back. So see you all soon. I'm Dane Calloway. Wado, everyone. You know what I'm here to do. I'm just here to make you think.